Yo, everyone, Skeptic here. Today, I wanted to talk about a problem that has recently been surfacing throughout Lost Ark over these past couple of weeks. And as you may have seen throughout the meme, um, there are bots still present throughout Lost Ark. And even worse, they're still plaguing the beginner areas of the game. And I kind of wanted to list a couple of reasons as to why this bot problem should be fixed as soon as possible. And I understand that bots will plague MMOs for the test of time. You can't get rid of the bots 100%. But ideally, I would want the bots to at least not plague the beginner areas, because it just gives off a bad impression within the game. It basically gives the players an impression that the game is cheap, that the devs don't moderate the game, which means they don't even care. It just basically makes the game feel cheap and empty. Imagine you are a new player, and not even 5 minutes into the game, you see not one, not two, but 7 or 8 bots running faster than a mount and no clipping through the terrain. It gives the player an impression that the developers don't even bother to moderate the game, which could basically lead to the player also thinking that the game is cheaply made and another free-to-play trash due to the fact that there is little to no moderation because bots are roaming free within the beginner towns and areas. Also, the fact that it is also a free-to-play Korean MMO, which most people would synonymously associate with heavy pay-to-win mechanics, it already drives away new players from trying out the game. Letting these bots roam free, especially in beginner towns and areas where it is blatantly obvious that these players are bots due to the names of the player, the movement speed, the no clipping. It basically is, as Josh Drive Hayes would coin it, a quit moment. Continuing on with the last statement, Korean MMOs have a bad stigma surrounding them, and Lost Ark is no exception. There's a quote that summarizes the characteristics of trust, and it goes something like this: trust takes years to build, seconds to break, and forever to repair. Lost Ark, being a growing MMO within the last few years, is a groundbreaking development, and seeing it have so many new players gives others hope that a Korean MMO doing so well in its native region, and not only that, but also maintaining a healthy player base in other regions such as NA and EU, provides a contextual statistic that can alleviate some of the negative stigma surrounding Korean MMOs, and Lost Ark basically being one of the exceptions that can break out of that generalization. If Lost Ark keeps letting this botting problem permeate, the MMO aspect of Lost Ark could, unironically, be lost. MMOs are a social game by nature. Lost Ark being plagued by bots not only sets a bad atmosphere, but it also ruins the immersion of the world within the game. The world surrounding an MMO is, I would say, one of the greatest strengths of the video game genre. Losing that aspect is detrimental to deriving the fun away from a potential long-time player, due to the fact that the world no longer feels filled with players, but rather with empty bots, with no humans to actually socialize with. By having these bots, the game loses the trust to uphold a fun and fair gameplay between all players. So, I went over how the fun aspects of the game could be lost. Now, I want to go over briefly how this can affect the fairness within the game. Within Lost Ark, there are two main tools that players use to trade items between one another: the marketplace and the auction house. In an MMO, the economy is another important aspect that can make or break a game depending on the fairness of transactions. By allowing bots to farm up gold, they can either inflate the prices of certain items or devalue the prices of certain items, which can ultimately hinder the overall progression of players within the game by either making it faster for some players to progress or harder for others depending on the situation of the economy. I just want to say that I am not a programmer, nor am I a game designer, but I wanted to share my thoughts and opinions about bots because I truly believe that they hinder the game, and I really want Lost Ark to succeed and break out of its negative stigma and connotations with heavy pay-to-win and free-to-play trash. So I didn't want the video to just be about the problems, because I'm sure that Amazon basically knows that there's a botting problem. So I also wanted to input some of my solutions, whether they're viable or not. My first kind of solution that I propose is the creation of some sort of conditional statement that should either disconnect the bot account or basically ban the bot account. For example, if the bot is moving at a really fast movement speed that cannot be achieved without a mount, or if the bot is moving just as fast as a mount or even faster, the bot should either get disconnected or banned immediately. Similarly, with no clipping, if the bot is moving through terrain that other players cannot move through, it should be banned immediately, no questions asked. My second solution that I propose is to have two-factor authentication using your mobile phones to log in by giving you a code via text. By making the barrier to entry harder, it will decrease the amount of bots' accessibility to just simply create a Steam account and being able to play straight away. Now, I understand that not everyone has mobile phones and or not a lot of players would want to do this. So, I would incentivize giving out a reward for having two-factor authentication enabled. Some examples I gave would be like maybe 1,000 silver, 10,000 silver, maybe some honing shards, a free mount, a report chest, a battle item chest, just something to reward the player for basically making their account safer. And not only that, it makes the player have a safer account by tightening the security, but it also helps with the barrier to entry that bots have to go through in order to access the game. My third solution is to make it harder to earn gold in the beginner areas. The reason why bots plague the beginner areas is because you are able to make gold relatively early on. By making gold harder to earn in the early game, it will decrease the amount of bots plaguing the beginner areas, which will ultimately reduce their numbers, since the bots themselves would then have to sail to another continent in order to basically earn gold. My last solution that I propose is to incentivize other players to moderate the game by reporting the bots when seen. An example of this is in CSGO, an FPS game by Valve. There is a system called Overwatch, which is essentially an in-game replay review system that lets the CSGO community regulate itself by allowing qualified and experienced members of the community to review reports of disruptive behavior, to determine whether or not these reports are valid, and applying bans if appropriate. I already report bots as I see them, but I can understand why others would not report them, because there would be too many for them to report, and they would deem it a futile effort and or a waste of time. If there was a reward for making accurate reports on bots, such as silver or cube entrances, etc., it would give players a reason to moderate the game and rewards them for doing something good for the community, which would in turn have a positive domino effect. Now, I want to clarify that there could be potential players that are toxic that could just be giving out false reports left and right for the rewards. And to sort of combat this, I would make sure that the banning system is reviewable by a human, not a bot. I want to say this again for clarification. If a person reports just to get the rewards and the player gets banned unjustly, I would like for the ban to be reviewable not by a bot, but by a human, so that if the player is deemed not a bot, then the player making the report would get a ban or some sort of punishment for their false reports. As of making this video, there is a new post on the Lost Ark website that talks about the current situation about bots. And I kind of wanted to just read it over and see what their plans are for the time being. So let's check it out. Lost Ark update to top issues March 11th. So today is the day that I'm recording this, basically. Heroes of Arcasia. Staying transparent is important to us. I love this. Yes. Please do not go silent. I don't want March to end and then on April you just ghost the whole community. Please keep up transparency. I love this. It shows that you care about the game. And we want to share updates about the game and any issues we are working through with you as consistently as possible. As content arrives and updates are released into the game, you may see these top issue updates being published at different days through the week. And I love that. I really do love that. I know it's not easy with all the problems going on within the game that they have to kind of juggle. And I know, well actually I don't know, but I can sympathize that releasing these articles in a timely manner is most likely very difficult for them to do. And I just want to say that I appreciate that they're even doing this in the first place, because some MMOs just don't even give a fuck, if I'm gonna be, a little bit honest here. they generally just don't give a fuck. They barely post. If you're lucky enough, they post maybe once a year. Or if they do post, it's more about events that, you know, just plague the MMO genre with like pay to win stuff and all these other things. But other than that, let's continue on with the post. While this post references several topics that have been ongoing, the team is also keeping a close eye out for any new issues that may spring up with our March update. We will provide those updates in a separate post if necessary. We appreciate the feedback and questions. Keep them coming on our official forums. Alright. Bot bans. Okay. Last Friday, we began rolling out bot bans, targeting over 1 million illegitimate accounts, which is awesome. I love to hear that. We know this will not fix the situation by itself, and there are still bots present within the game. So we want to provide reassurance that this was just one step in an ongoing battle. I like to hear that. It's not just like, okay, we banned over 1 million bots, now we do nothing. We just sit on our asses and we do nothing. I'm actually glad that they're like, hold on everyone, let's not jump to conclusions. You know, this is still something that we're tackling. This is still something that we're trying to improve on. And I'm very thankful for that. Following this initial massive ban wave, we are continuing to regularly roll out additional bans to clear out more bots from the game, which is good. Beyond that, we are also working on internal methods and tools to make it much more difficult for bots to enter the game, especially at the current rate they are being created. Because, yeah, they've banned over 1 million illegitimate accounts, but I still see them being created at a relatively fast rate. It's not necessarily negating the bot bans, but it definitely lessens the impact if they're slowly creeping up again near the same rate. So they definitely have to keep on improving the system and making sure that creating the bots is less of a significant effort and more futile than just simply playing the game. I don't know if that's even possible to achieve, because bots are still a problem within the MMO space, but at the very least, like I said, I would at least not, I do not want to see 10 bots plaguing the beginner areas. I hope that's not too much to ask. I honestly, I really hope not. These updates will soon be on their way to the game. We've also heard player concerns about the effect these bots may have on the in-game economy, which I was talking about earlier, when it comes to gold buying and selling, and we are closely monitoring the situation. Good, I like that. We have changed the gold reward to silver for some report and guide quest rewards in order to prevent the abuse of these systems by botters and gold farmers, which is good. I kind of talked about that earlier, where I was saying that they should change the rewards from certain NPCs, because sometimes they give out gold to silver or something like that. So it's good to see that something is being implemented to make gold harder to earn within the early game. Please also remember that participating in any real money transactions, or everyone knows this, RMT for short, through third-party sellers is against our terms of service and will result in an account ban for both the buyer and seller. Yes, thank you. I like this. You basically set out the precedent. You tell the community what you're gonna do. It basically, you show your authority and enforcement within the game, and I really do appreciate that. Like, you stick your foot to the ground. Thank you. To help safeguard your account, be wary of gold and gifts sent to you by users that you don't know, and always reject any items that show up in your mailbox that you feel uncertain about. So I kind of want to repeat this for other people watching the video who could get tricked like me, because I'm not very, I'm gonna be honest, I'm very gullible. I'm not that smart. So if I see something for free through the mailbox, I'm like, oh yeah, dude, let me click that accept button. Let me get that juicy reward. Little that I know that it's from some shady dude who is just giving out these things to get other people banned, or these items were acquired through third-party means. So again, to help safeguard your account, be wary of gold and gifts sent to you by users that you don't know, and always reject any items that show up in your mailbox that you feel uncertain about. This update today has given me a lot of reassurance. Again, funny enough, because yesterday I was looking through Reddit, through the Lost Ark subreddit to be specific, and I've seen just multiple posts about these bots, just screenshots, videos, memes. I'm just seeing all of this, and that's not what I want Lost Ark to become. I don't want it to become Bot Ark. That joke was so shit, but that's not what I want the game to become. When I log into Lost Ark, I just want to have a good time, do some Chaos Dungeons, do some Guardian Raids, do some Una task, sail around, collecting Makoko seeds, I just want to have fun in the game without having this thought in the back of my mind, like, there are still bots plaguing the game, there are still things happening that ruin the fun and fair aspects and integrity of the game. Like, I just want to log in, I want to relax and just have a good time. I want everyone to know that I am not an MMO player. In fact, I was a casual fighting game player for these past couple of years. I never really imagined myself playing any other type of video game, to be honest. But Lost Ark changed my mind. Because I love Lost Ark so much, I want to see the game improve, and if that means I have to shout out the negatives about the game, and if I have to expose it and call it out, then so be it. I'll do it as many times as necessary. But in all honesty, I want this to be my last negative video about Lost Ark. I don't want my channel to just be doom and gloom. I want it to be a place where everyone can relax and kind of just enjoy themselves through my shitty commentary and my shitty Lost Ark gameplay. But I wanted to end the video with these last few words. I don't make a video talking about the negatives of a game if I didn't care about the game. If I hated the game, I would have just silently moved on to another game, and I would have never given it any more of my time. The time you spend is precious, because you won't be able to get that back. And I want to say that ever since Lost Ark released, since the head start, I don't regret spending my time with it. In fact, I had a lot of fun, and I want to continue to make more memories of the game. And I want to make more videos, and I want to spend more time just going through the Reddit posts, going through the Twitter posts, watching big name streamers reacting to Lost Ark content and playing the game, and doing these endgame raids and stuff like that. Those are the memories that I want to look back on and say, hey, I was there. Thanks for watching the video. If you got this far, I hope everyone here has a great day.